Hi, welcome to Crime Clueless. We're your hosts. I'm Jenna.
And I'm Lara.
And I'm Kayla.
For this episode, we are missing Krista, which sad.
Sad.
I like when it's all four of us.
I know, me too.
Yep.
Next time.
Fun to record with everybody, but it's also just nice to have some time to catch up, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Haven't seen you guys in a week.
I know. Oh, and now we're going to go a couple weeks.
Oh.
Sad. We have
Good job, Laura. Just kidding. Sorry.
You know, I will be real sad when I lay on the beach in Hawaii. So
I can tell.
I will think about you guys.
No, you won't.
Maybe I'll buy you a present
That's nice.
if you're nice to me.
I'm always nice to you.
I like chocolate.
Okay. I'll find you some
Ooh.
good chocolate.
Chocolate covered macadamia nuts with the coconut.
Yes. Oh,
Those are good.
the best.
That's what I request. Thank you.
Well, then you have to be nice now.
I'm always nice.
Sure, Jan.
Okay, I taught you that.
No, the Brady Bunch taught us that.
I showed you it. That's from the Brady Bunch movie. Your facts right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't say which one.
The spoof of the Brady Bunch.
Oh, yeah.
You know what the scene is, Laura?
What is it?
It's Marcia saying that she has a boyfriend and
Oh, I do know. I have seen that.
or Jan saying that she has a boyfriend, Marcia not believing her. What's his
Yeah.
name? George. Tropicana. And she looks at the orange juice.
Yes.
Tropicana, that's a funny name. And then he empties the glass and she's like, no, George, Glass. She's like, that's a funny name. Never heard of a George Glass at our school.
School.
Well,
He's super cool and he thinks I'm really cute. And then she looks at her and she's like, sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan.
I have seen that scene before,
Yeah, because I showed it to you.
probably.
It's still one of my favorite phrases.
Yeah, we do use that one a lot.
Yeah, I like to take credit for that one.
You know what? I do associate it with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
I
welcome.
associate it with my college roommates.
All right. Well, now I associate it with your college roommate.
Okay.
Okay. We have a Facebook inspired case today. You guys ready to jump
Ooh.
into one that just is
Wild.
so wild?
Can't wait.
So excited. Let's do it.
Okay. Mountain City, Tennessee, a sleepy little town of about 2,500 people nestled in the Appalachian Mountains. It's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone and nothing much ever happens. But on a cold January morning in 2012, that peace is violently broken. In a modest rural, I can't say that word,
Rural.
rural. Why is that word so hard? Rural juror.
It's really hard.
The
I don't
rural
like that
juror.
word.
I know, I don't either.
What's that from?
30 Rock,
Yes. Okay.
their movie,
The rural juror.
the Jenna's movie, the rural juror. All right. In a modest rural home, deputies push open the front door. What they find inside doesn't look real. It's a nightmare. Lying on the floor is 36-year-old Billie Payne Jr., shot point blank in the head. His throat has been slashed ear to ear. In the next room, 23-year-old Billie Jean Hayworth lies lifeless on the ground, a single gunshot wound to her head. Cradled in Billie Jean's limp arms is the couple's 7-month-old baby boy.
Sad.
So sad.
That's just like a horrifying scene to walk into.
Mm-hmm.
Shot and throat slashed. That's
Yeah,
unnecessary and just brutal.
you're right. It is unnecessary and over the top brutal.
Yes.
The baby boy is miraculously alive and unhurt. The only sounds in the house are the faint cries of the infant and the hurried footsteps of officers securing the scene.
That's so sad. That poor baby.
I'm
Yes.
glad he was okay, though.
Yeah.
Me too. Chief Deputy Joe Woodard says it looked like a hit. In fact, investigators at first wondered if this was some kind of professional job. The crime scene was too clean, with no shell casings or fingerprints left behind. Sheriff Mike Reese said, "It's the worst thing I've ever seen. We've had murders, but nothing like this. This is just senseless." 2 young parents executed in their own home, their baby found in his mother's arms. It was incomprehensible. Who on earth would want Billie and Billie Jean dead? And why? Rumors spread fast through Mountain City that day, and one name keeps coming up in conversation: Potter. The Potter family down the road, especially their 30-year-old daughter, Janelle. People knew there had been bad blood on Facebook between Janelle and the slain couple. Could an online feud really have led to a cold-blooded murder?
A Facebook feud?
Mm-hmm.
Were they like mean comments on there? Were they having issues on a game like Farmville? Like what?
Oh, I loved Farmville.
Me too. But, thinking back to when this happened, what was popular on Facebook, but like what could cause all of this Facebook drama?
Yeah, it certainly started with Facebook drama, sort of. The story that unfolds is one of the most baffling and tragic we've seen. It's full of small town gossip, internet grudges, and shadowy figures pulling strings behind the scenes. Today, we're diving into the case of Billie Payne and Billie Jean Hayworth and how a social media meltdown ended in murder.
Jeez, I am ready to be shocked by this story. It just sounds wild. I have a feeling that it's just going to be unbelievable. I can't even imagine some kind of online feud.
Yeah.
I mean, I can because I've seen people go back and forth on Facebook.
People are wild on there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Behind that screen.
Well,
those computer warriors.
People just don't think that it's an actual person on the other side.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's just such a disconnect. I feel it's crazy.
Absolutely.
I can't even imagine like things now that I see people who I follow, they'll post things that people send to them and it's horrific. Like people they don't even know.
Yeah.
The things that they send are so mean and hurtful and unbelievable. And I would have to think that they would never say that to their face.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But
like people,
on
like
Facebook,
influencers who post like comments and things that they get.
Yes.
Like it's horrible.
It's so horrible. And I can't imagine. I know some people who have had to get off of being influencers because of the hate comments that they get.
Oh,
It's so crazy to me
wild.
to hate someone that much.
Someone you don't even know.
Yeah.
And I know that this one seems like they're neighbors, but that might make it even worse if there's something that they disagree on and they're just going back and forth.
Yep. Well, buckle up because this story is wild and unbelievable. Let's start at the beginning. Who are the people at the center of this drama and how did things go so horribly wrong? To understand how this escalated to double homicide, we'll go through the tangle of relationships. So first we have Janelle Potter. She's a 30-year-old woman who, by all accounts, lived a sheltered life under her parents' roof in Mountain City. We have Marvin Buddy Potter, who's Janelle's father. He's a 60-year-old former Marine and Vietnam vet who's fiercely protective of his daughter. We have Barbara Potter, who is Janelle's mother, a devoted mom who would do anything for her baby girl. Then we have Billie Payne. He was 36. He was a friendly local guy and a new father. He had been friends with Janelle at one point. We have Billie Jean Hayworth, who was 23. She was Billie's fiance and a loving mother to their son. And we have Jamie Curd, a 38-year-old who is the cousin of Billie Payne. And he had become close to Janelle over the months leading up to this. So let's talk about how this connects. Janelle Potter moved to Mountain City with her parents around 2004. Coming from out of state, Pennsylvania, Janelle had a tough time growing up. She had multiple health problems, including type 1 diabetes and some learning disabilities, which meant her parents kept a very close eye on her. By her late 20s, Janelle still lived at home with Buddy and Barbara, managing much of her care. Because of these issues, Janelle spent most of her time isolated at home with mom and dad. And it's kind of debated whether it started out them forcing her to be home more or she likes it and wants to be there. In a small town where everyone had known each other since kindergarten, Janelle felt like an outsider. She desperately wanted friends. Around 2009, she turned to Facebook to socialize. Online, Janelle could be just like anyone else. She started friending local people her age, looking to fit in. And at first it worked. She made a few friends, and one of them was Billie Payne.
He was like friends with her. I know you mentioned that like he had tried to befriend her, but it seemed like were they just online friends or were they actual friends in person?
Yeah, actual friends in person. It seems like he was one of the first that Janelle connected with. She had also met him with another mutual friend that they shared that she had found by going to the pharmacy and getting her insulin and other medications filled. And all of those people ran in the same circle. They were friends. Billy was a kind-hearted guy. He and then, the others we mentioned welcomed Janelle to their social circle. Billy even introduced Janelle to his cousin, Jamie Curd.
Did he live in the same city as them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thinking that Jamie and Janelle would hit it off. And they did. Janelle and Jamie started spending time together. It was low-key and on the down low because Janelle's parents were so overprotective that 30-year-old Janelle wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend.
That's so sad.
So she has a boyfriend and mom and dad can't know, but she lives at home.
Right.
There might be some drama there.
Yes. Yeah. Jamie was really good at fixing computers and technology. So every time he would come over, she would say it was to help her with her computer or their family computer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Secretly dating.
Secretly dating. We'll just call them friends. Okay. Let's introduce the others and then we'll come back to Janelle and Jamie. So Billie Payne Jr. was a Mountain City native. In 2011, he was working at the local cotton mill and had settled down with the love of his life, Billie Jean Hayworth. Billie was 36, so he was a little bit older than Billie Jean, who was 23. Despite the age difference, by all accounts, they were devoted to each other. They had recently got engaged and also recently welcomed a baby boy whom they named Tyler. By January 2012, baby Tyler was about 7 months old and the absolute light of his parents' lives. Friends say Billie Jean positively glowed whenever she held her son. He was her world. A friend recalled of Billie Jean's love for little Tyler.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know.
Really
he was
sad.
so young.
Yes.
A lot of these cases have little kids involved and babies and where they were murdered and the babies left alone. And that makes me so sad.
It's so sad. Yeah, like with Betty.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, with Robin too.
Oh, yeah. Hers was little. That was sad.
Really sad.
Billie Jean was known as sweet and friendly and a little bit shy. She wasn't too much into the online drama, but she always stood by her man and appreciated her close social circle and her friendships. Billie Payne was more active on Facebook and around town. He had a protective streak that came to those he cared about. That always included defending his fiancée, Billie Jean, and others if they were being attacked or harassed. Unfortunately, by late 2011, one person he found himself in conflict with was Janelle Potter, the very person he once tried to help find friends. Marvin, Buddy Potter, and his wife Barbara, by all accounts, they were utterly devoted to Janelle. Buddy, like I said, was a former Marine, a Vietnam vet who had been wounded in action. By 2012, he was 60 years old and in poor health. He needed an oxygen tank to breathe and had multiple chronic ailments. Barbara was a homemaker. They had another adult daughter who lived out of state, but Janelle was their baby, and she lived with them. The Potters moved to this town to give Janelle a quieter life, and they kept her really sheltered. Buddy and Barbara were the kinds of parents who would do anything to keep Janelle safe, perhaps too much. A family friend later noted that Buddy in particular was overprotective, always worrying about Janelle's health and emotional state. When Janelle told her parents that some people in town were being mean to her, Buddy and Barbara took it very seriously. And then finally, there's Jamie. He was 38, quiet, like I said, tech savvy, and the cousin of Billie Payne. Billie had introduced Jamie to Janelle through a mutual friend, hoping Janelle might find a companion. And Jamie became enamored with Janelle. They started a secret relationship that they kept hidden from her parents. He would come over to the Potter house to fix their computer, and he could do that. He was good at it. And visit Janelle. They texted constantly. He had actually gotten Janelle a secret phone, and they had late night exchanges that Betty and Barbara probably had no clue about. Jamie was described as a bit socially awkward himself, so maybe he and Janelle bonded over both feeling like outsiders. What's important is that Jamie was loyal to Janelle. According to multiple later testimonies, if anybody bothered Janelle, Jamie would rush to her defense. In fact, Jamie siding with Janelle eventually caused a rift between him and his cousin Billie. And at one point, their feud got physical, an actual confrontation between the two men over this brewing drama.
So Janelle's got a secret boyfriend who's willing to fight his own family for her, who set them up, no less.
Right.
And her parents are ready to go full mama bear, papa bear at the slightest hint of anyone upsetting her.
Right.
Doesn't sound like a good mix.
No. The spark that ignited this terrible mix was, of all things, a Facebook feud. So let's jump into how that unfolded. By late 2011, the relationship between Janelle and Billie Jean had deteriorated badly, and it played out on social media. According to Janelle, someone began sending her hateful messages on Facebook. Janelle felt like she was being harassed, and she pointed the finger at Billie Jean and her friends. There were accusations flying back and forth online, insults, name-calling, threats. It got to a point where Janelle publicly accused Billie Jean of hacking her Facebook account and posting cruel things. Billie Jean and Billie Payne denied doing any such thing, of course. From their side, they felt that Janelle was imagining enemies and stirring up trouble.
Wait, so, I mean, is she saying that these messages are coming from anonymous sources? And what do you mean she felt that Billie Jean had hacked into her Facebook and was sending messages? Was Janelle sending messages to other people that she's saying were from Billie Jean, or?
Right. From Billie Jean's Facebook, we're going out, and she's saying someone else hacked in and did that. Okay. And then she's also getting anonymous messages, comments, posts on her Facebook that were harassing and insulting and mean.
Did she have those messages? Did police look at them? Could they see them, or had she deleted them? Did they look at that?
They did. I'm not sure if they were able to see everything, though. Okay. And I'm not entirely sure, because Facebook was still on the newer side, what kind of authorizations or what kind of data/records they kept.
Okay.
I might need to look that up. But.
Well, I don't know that you can send anonymous messages. I mean, unless she had created a fake profile of some random name and sent them to her.
That's what I was thinking of. It just said Facebook user 999 whatever. And that had sent a message to her that I guess would be anonymous if someone was creating fake accounts to be mean to her.
So I don't know if it's just because groups, but I'm in some groups on Facebook and people post anonymously a lot.
Yeah, I have seen that, but I don't think you can send an anonymous
that's what I'm
message.
Thinking, I know you can comment anonymously if that's allowed.
Public.
So in
it was
a group?
On her Facebook. So I don't know if you can do anonymous that way.
I don't know if you can either. I know you can do in groups, because I have seen people post anonymously in groups. I don't know if
comment anonymously.
Yeah. I don't know if you can post to someone's page anonymously.
And there were other places too. Janelle liked to be on the internet, on Reddit and things like that. And also she was saying she was getting emails too that were threatening and mean. And so multiple sources. And I'm not sure if they were creating other Facebook accounts, like you said.
Okay.
Or creating fake
accounts. Because I know people can do that, create something, just an account to.
And I think, then it would take a while to get somebody banned or an account taken down longer than now.
I mean, I know this is further in the future, but at least now, like, I pulled up Lara's Facebook to try, like, and went to do a post, and there's no way to make it anonymous. So someone had to have been making, like, fake accounts or something.
Yeah. Okay. Janelle, like I said, had met somebody working at the pharmacy when she had gone to pick up prescriptions. Her name was Tracy. And Tracy started hanging out with her, becoming the one friend that Janelle saw face to face. Everything else was online. Tracy noticed that Janelle didn't have other friends, and she would go out of her way to kind of bring her into their social circle. This started in 2009. So you've got quite a few years of buildup for this whole feud, because when we get to everything that happened, we're in 2012.
So like 3 years then.
2011?
She met Tracy in 2009.
And the feud was in
2011 was, yeah.
2011, 2012.
And then everything happened in 2012.
Okay.
I mean, even to go out with Tracy, she had to come in and meet Janelle's parents and promise that they wouldn't do anything they shouldn't. And I mean, these are grown adults. Janelle's in her late 20s by now.
Yeah.
And Tracy introduced her first to Billie Payne. They were good friends, and Janelle had a crush on him, like right from the beginning. He was really nice to her. He would include her. He would invite her to go do things like hiking or rock climbing, the things that they like to do around town, and also to parties. But he kind of looked at her more like a little sister or someone that he was helping. He didn't have that physical attraction. I forgot. Billie Payne is Tracy's brother, which is why they're all in the friend group. And this is like a whole family thing that happened. They're doing events like rock climbing, hiking, parties. And once they meet Janelle, they start inviting her along to these things. And she develops this crush. But, you know, she's shy. She doesn't have a lot of experience socially. She never even tells him that she has this crush. He's dating Billie Jean. It sounds like before too long, Janelle had this secret crush / maybe more of an obsession even with Billie Payne. Billie, just being nice, outgoing, introduces his cousin, Jamie, to Janelle. Jamie also had grown up in Mountain City. You know, they all have the same friends, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, Janelle was like, okay, we can date. And I'm not sure if her feelings shifted, but I think she still had that same crush on Billie and was very jealous when they got engaged, Billie Payne and Billie Jean, and also when Billie Jean got pregnant. And I think that secret obsession was fueling the decisions that she made later on.
So is that kind of why she targeted her, you think? Is that kind of how it seems?
Mm-hmm. And, you know, when she's saying Billie Jean is the one that is sending me these messages, I think she's either saying it because she felt maybe something from Billie Jean. Maybe Billie Jean didn't like the way that she
maybe she could tell
was with Billie Payne, right? Or she's doing it to try to get Billie Payne to break up with Billie Jean.
Maybe.
We don't know all the answers to these things because, you know, Janelle's never said the answers. So we kind of have to speculate a little bit on why she's doing what she's doing. Okay, so now we're all the way to 2011. So we've had the buildup of getting to know each other. At this point, Janelle's been secretly dating Jamie for a while. She had a secret phone from him. Her mom found one of them, got real mad, smashed it, broke it.
Oh.
He got her another one because that was really the only way that they could communicate. Her relationship with Billie and Billie Jean had deteriorated. Janelle was continuing to say that she was being harassed and continuing to point fingers at Billie Jean Hayworth and her friends. It wasn't just Facebook. It was also a social media app that was called Topics. with an X. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
Nope.
I hadn't either. It feels like it was the original, like the neighbor app or next door
okay.
type of thing, where you could get local news, you could get interactions with people in your community, like garage sales, or we're having this fundraiser type things.
So kind of like a smaller local Facebook type thing.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That might have been where some of the other anonymous comments were coming from, or fake accounts targeting Janelle. Janelle was constantly telling her parents that she was being insulted, name-calling, threats from online, and saying that she just knew that it was coming from Billie Jean. And Janelle actually went so far as to publicly accuse Billie Jean of doing those things, saying those things. And, Billie Jean and Billie Payne denied doing any such thing. From their viewpoint, they felt that Janelle was just trying to stir up trouble or maybe cause a rift between the two of them. It doesn't even make sense because she had never told Billie Payne that she had a crush on him. And so it's almost like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? And why would we do this to you? We have no reason to do this to you. At the time, Janelle insisted that all the messages were real and they were all from Billie Jean. And, like I said, she's telling her parents that she's being bullied relentlessly. And she even says that they drive by the home yelling out threats.
Did her parents corroborate that? Is that something that they saw?
No. She would say it was while they went to dinner, they went to the store, or while they were not home.
Okay.
Yeah. They're seeing their daughter, who they consider vulnerable. She's upset, scared. As it escalated, they all unfriended each other on Facebook.
I don't know, if I were her parents and, obviously they want to believe their daughter and she's so scared and stuff, I would be upset too.
Right. Maybe go to the police, but I don't know what you would say. Right.
Well, yeah, it's hard to track that down because when I was in college, there was an app. It was called Yik Yak, and it's like Twitter, but it's all anonymous.
Oh, see, I could see more things like that.
It was horrible.
That is horrible. Yeah.
Someone didn't like us.
I bet that was an app that they were using, actually.
Something. Yeah, that would have been 2015.
Oh.
So it was after this.
Before that, yeah.
But yeah, you could post basically whatever you wanted and no one would know who it was.
That's awful.
That is awful. I know there are accounts that say that they are the middle school or the high school on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. Some post who's dating who, and this is today now. And some post meaner, gossipy things. Yeah. People find a way. Cyberbullying is no joke.
It is awful.
Yeah. This is basically, a civil war in this town because you've got people taking sides, some who saw the things posted about Janelle, and then she's saying who did it. And then some people that know Billie Jean are like, she would never do that. Right?
Yeah. Especially in a small town.
They think it was only 2,500 people.
Right.
Really small. It's just like petty gossip, jealousy that they're thinking it is.
Well, according to Janelle, she felt that Billie Jean and Billie Jean's friends were jealous of her. In a police interview later, Janelle said, it turned out to be a jealousy thing. They would always say that I was just too pretty. Yeah, you heard that. Janelle claimed that these former friends of hers hated her because she was too pretty. Others in town rolled their eyes at that. In reality, people suspected that Janelle was jealous of Billie Jean. And then, of course, they thought she must be jealous of Billie Jean's relationship with Billie Payne, or jealous that Billie had friends, popular, outgoing, seemed like a great person. There were rumors that had circulated that Janelle had a crush on Billie Payne. I'm not sure if that started by Billie Jean or if it started because of the things that happened on Facebook. But Janelle denies that that's the case, which is wrong.
I don't know. Social media is great for so many things, but it's also so terrible in so many other ways.
Yes.
I'm not sad that I didn't have it in middle school or high school.
Me either.
Or even at the beginning of college.
I got Facebook in 2008. So, yeah, I had social media. I had Facebook at least all through high school. And then I got Instagram beginning of college.
Yeah, like 2009 or something.
I think I got Instagram like 2012 because it was out for a while. I didn't get it until I think I started college.
I think my first post on Instagram was 2012 because I think it was my dog.
Yeah, that was one of my first ones too. I think mine was 2010, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because I got Facebook in 2007, but that's, after high school. So.
Yeah. I would like the pictures from high school and college.
I know.
There's like no way to find those, or even, when Brett and I were dating or engaged, like I don't know where any of those pictures are.
I know. It's the worst. So many pictures get stored on there. And like my husband, his Facebook got hacked and we couldn't get it back. And he had so many pictures on there that were lost and just terrible. And things he was tagged in, old pictures, and
that's so
sad.
You got to back those up. That's a good reminder.
Yeah. That's why I have 50,000 pictures on my phone because I can't delete anything.
50,000?
Oh, that was a guess. I probably have way more than that.
Yeah. When I moved here 7 years ago, right after I moved here, my phone just wouldn't turn on one day. And at the time, I didn't have everything backed up. So I lost a lot of pictures. Thankfully, I have a bunch saved like on Facebook and stuff. But any of the ones that I hadn't posted, I hadn't backed it up since probably around 2016-ish. So like a lot of my pictures from when I lived in the Philippines, I lost all of those.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
That's awful. Back up your stuff.
Yeah.
It used to be harder than it is now. So with Janelle, she was telling her parents that, this was just constant and unrelenting, awful, horrible. Barbara Potter had been recorded saying that they hacked in all the time, truly believing that Billie Jean and her friends were constantly breaking into Janelle's online accounts. This went on for weeks. Tensions kept rising. Janelle made it seem like she was genuinely afraid. She convinced her parents and Jamie that she was. Here's where things take an even stranger turn. Amid all the drama, the Potter family, specifically Janelle, started receiving messages and emails from a mysterious figure who we'll call Chris.
Who was he? Someone like in town too? Was he part of their friend group, or do we know who that is?
At first, nobody was quite sure. Janelle described Chris as a friend she met online who was trying to help her. She said Chris was a CIA agent. Yeah. According to what Janelle told her family, Chris was monitoring the situation and warning them about threats to Janelle's life. Chris would send emails and messages eventually to Barbara as well, saying things like Billie Payne and Billie Jean and others were planning to hurt or even kill Janelle if something wasn't done.
So they think a CIA agent named Chris inserts himself into this Facebook quarrel in rural Tennessee because they're really all about the Facebook fighting.
Oh, yeah.
In small towns, it sounds pretty implausible. Did they really believe this?
Yeah, that doesn't really seem...
Doesn't seem like something that would happen.
Yeah, It sounds absurd. But yes, Buddy and Barbara seemed to buy it. They were told by Chris that he was an undercover CIA operative working in the area, and they believed that he was this guardian angel for Janelle. I mean, she's so sweet and so wonderful, and they had met each other online, and he had to get involved, and he had all the tools to do it. Yeah. Chris claimed that he had top secret reasons to be in Mountain City, Buddy Potter had served in Vietnam in some sort of classified capacity. So Barbara wondered if this was somehow connected to that.
Seems.
Yeah.
I
Barbara.
don't know the word. Coincidental? I don't know what the word is I was trying to say.
And if he's there undercover on a top secret,
just blabbing it to the neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a CIA agent. Don't worry, I'll help you.
Yes.
That's exactly the thing. Like, if you're undercover, aren't you supposed to not tell people that you're a CIA
Yes.
agent? Yeah.
What?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. He's watching over Janelle, keeping tabs on those who are harassing her. I mean, to us now, it seems unbelievable that anyone would fall for this. But, remember, the Potters were older. They were not tech savvy. They were fiercely protective. And by this point, they were super concerned. If someone told them their daughter was in mortal danger, they would take it seriously.
Yeah.
Throughout late 2011 and early 2012, this volatile situation is brewing. Janelle's family is being fed information that Billie Payne, Billie Jean, and their friends are threatening to kill Janelle, sexually assault Janelle, just horrifying threats. Buddy's hearing that these people want to catch his daughter in a restroom and murder her. I mean, she's getting very specific and
so scary,
graphic and escalating. Yeah, it's like gasoline on the fire to tell her parents these things, especially because of how protective they are. Yeah, of Janelle. Janelle had kind of kept from her parents the nasty things that she said about Billie Jean and the people harassing her. And if anybody saw it or heard about it, she'd say they deserve it because they're saying even worse things to me. For example, when Billie Jean got pregnant, Janelle commented that she didn't deserve a baby and even more horrible things.
So sad.
Yeah. And those were the least of the comments. They got worse and worse as Janelle went on. And you can look them up and find those. And they're in some of the source material that we'll post. By January 2012, Buddy Potter has had enough. As one email Barbara wrote to Chris put it, "We've had enough. No one wants to kill anyone, but we will."
Wow.
Yeah. So the Potters are essentially saying if authorities can't stop these threats, then we'll take matters into our own hands.
Oof. That does not bode well. I mean, that's basically them saying that they're going to go kill them. I mean, he has the training.
Right. Vietnam.
Yeah. I mean, you said he was a Marine in, classified operations. Who really knows what he was doing?
Right. It's tragic and chilling. And, that's exactly what happened. Buddy, maybe egged on by Barbara and, of course, this mysterious Chris, decides to act. Sometime in the pre-dawn hours of January 31st, 2012, Buddy Potter and Jamie Curd got in Buddy's car and drove through the dark, winding roads to Billie Payne's house.
Wait, Jamie also? Billie's cousin.
Yep.
That's so sad.
He chose Janelle.
Yeah.
It was around 4:30 a.m. when Buddy slipped out of his house. Janelle was awake, anxious, and was texting with Jamie that night. At 4:39 a.m., she texted Jamie, "Yes, he's leaving now. I hear the car," indicating that her father, Buddy, was heading out. A minute later, she sent another text, "I love you. Text me ASAP when you get back." And then the messaging went silent. Investigators believe that Buddy picked Jamie up around 5 a.m. and together they drove to the home of Billie Payne and Billie Jean. Inside the little house, they were likely asleep with their baby in the room. What happened next is brutal. Sometime before dawn, Buddy and Jamie entered the house, maybe through an unlocked door. Buddy was armed with a handgun. He confronted Billie first, shooting him point blank in the head, execution style.
Oh, that's awful.
This makes me sick.
Yeah, I know. It's so brutal and completely unnecessary. I mean, they all are, but this
is insane. It's wild.
Yeah. It's not even that long ago.
Yeah.
No.
vigilantes.
Mm-hmm. Billie Jean probably heard the shot, I'm sure, and probably had barely any time to react or rise from bed before Buddy turned the gun on her and pulled the trigger. Both victims dropped where they stood. Billie was likely killed instantly by the headshot, but in a final gruesome touch, Buddy took out a knife and slashed Billie's throat post-mortem, perhaps out of rage or some notion of revenge for the threats that he believed that Billie Payne had made. Baby Tyler, miraculously, was unharmed. It seems either Buddy or Jamie placed the baby in his mother's arms after she was dead.
Oh my God.
Maybe some twisted attempt at mercy or to make it look like Billie died protecting him. I don't know.
Wow. That's awful.
It's so tragic.
Ugh.
And that's how police would find them, the baby cradled in his mother's embrace. By the time the sun rose on January 31st, Billie Payne and Billie Jean were dead. Their bodies would soon be discovered. Reports say a relative or a neighbor found them later that morning when they hadn't heard from the couple, and the door was left oddly open. The authorities were called, and the sheriff's department launched an investigation immediately. Mountain City was in shock and terror. As Sheriff Reese said, nothing like this had ever happened there. 2 people were murdered execution style, and it sounded too crazy to be true. The killers were out there, and the police needed to find them fast.
Yeah, that's so sad.
She was just so young. Like,
Yeah.
they both were, but
So sad for their baby, too.
Yeah.
Investigators from the Johnson County Sheriff's Department and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation swarmed the crime scene. Pretty quickly, they learned about the feud. Friends and family of the victims kept mentioning the Potter family as people who had been arguing with Billie and Billie Jean. In a town this small, the drama was no secret. Everyone knew that the Potter family had bad blood with the victims. So, the day after the murders, Chief Deputy Joe Woodard and other officers paid a visit to the Potter home. They wanted to speak with Janelle, Betty, and Barbara. Just routine, of course, because surely this upper middle-aged couple, we've got this oxygen-toting dad. I mean, they couldn't be cold-blooded killers, right?
I mean, you wouldn't think a 60-year-old man on an oxygen tank would be your first suspect either.
No.
Exactly.
Like, ugh.
The Potters didn't look anything like typical murder suspects, but the investigator's motto is trust your gut. And the gut said talk to the Potters because of this feud. And remember, Jamie Curt's name also popped up as he was known to be really close to the Potter family. So the police arrived at the Potters' home. Unbeknownst to the family, the detective secretly recorded the interview. The tape later revealed some interesting things. Chief Woodward said, "We knew they had trouble with Billie Payne and Billie Jean." Woodard said of why they had come to talk to the Potters. At first, and really the entire time, the Potters played completely innocent. Buddy was defending from the get-go. He says, "Everyone always points a finger at us for something." He complained, feeling persecuted. Barbara and Janelle sat by quietly. Detectives asked if they knew anyone who'd want to hurt Billie or Billie Jean. Buddy instead responded, "Actually, I don't. I feel bad about this. I didn't want no harm on them." Janelle herself then piped up, her tone shifting from sympathetic to angry. She launched into how she had been the real victim. "They've been harassing the living crap out of me on our property," Janelle vented about Billie and Billie Jean. She told the detectives she was sorry it happened, but emphasized she had been harassed relentlessly.
So she's the victim after they've just been murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She is the victim. When asked why these people would harass her, Janelle gave the now infamous reply, "It turned out to be a jealousy thing. They say I was too pretty." The detectives noted that comment with some skepticism, I'm sure. The conversation then turned to Jamie Curd. The police knew Jamie had sided with Janelle in the dispute, so they asked, "What's Jamie's relationship to you?" Janelle, glancing nervously at her parents, insisted, "He's just a friend, a really good friend." Barbara echoed that. Jamie was just a family friend who helped them with their computer.
It's interesting that they still don't believe that they were like dating, but her dad took him with him to murder his cousin.
Yeah.
And his cousin's fiance.
Because he's a good family friend.
Oh, okay.
That's what good family friends do, apparently.
Murder their family.
I guess.
Okay.
That's so wild to think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The detectives weren't buying it. They suspected that Jamie and Janelle were closer than she let on. Buddy and Barbara genuinely seemed unaware that Jamie was effectively Janelle's boyfriend. Janelle was still hiding it from mommy and daddy.
What if they were like decided to get married? Like, would they have let her?
Can you never have a relationship? What age is appropriate?
I don't know.
It's interesting because they have an older daughter who doesn't live at home.
Mm-hmm. She did not like how her mom treated her sister. And she actually, when they were moving to Tennessee, went to live with her grandma so she didn't have to move with them.
Oh, interesting.
Wow. Mm-hmm. After the initial interview with the Potters, the officers left, but their suspicions were mounting. The Potters' alibi, their demeanor, it didn't exactly clear them. They now had Jamie Curd on their radar. If nothing else, maybe Jamie knows something. Maybe he got wind of someone planning to hurt the victims. So investigators brought Jamie in for questioning a few days later. He arrived at the sheriff's office nervously. Detectives hooked him up to a polygraph. They went through questions, including critical ones like, do you know who killed Billie Payne and Billie Jean? Afterward, the examiner confronted Jamie with the results. He failed miserably. I don't know why he took one.
Yeah.
Right? The polygraph indicated that Jamie was lying when he denied knowing the killer or who had killed them. Investigators pressed him hard. One agent leaned in and said, I think you went in there and said, I'm going to take care of this. People ain't going to mess with my girl no more. Suggesting that Jamie himself might have been the one to shoot Billie and Billie Jean to protect Janelle. Jamie kept shaking his head, denying that he was the trigger man. They asked, were you the only person there when they were killed? Jamie answered, I wasn't there. He was sticking to his story, or lack of a story. The hours were passing with no real breakthrough. Then, out of nowhere, Jamie dropped a bombshell question that changed everything. He nervously looked at the investigators and asked, is the CIA here?
Why would he ask, is the CIA here? I mean, I'm sure going back to, Chris, but that's a really bizarre thing to ask when they're interrogating him for murder.
Absolutely. Bizarre is an understatement. The detectives were dumbfounded. You could almost hear them in the recording going, CIA? No. Why? They asked Jamie why on earth he'd ask about the CIA. And Jamie responds, because they say he works for them. Now the investigators are thinking, who is he? Jamie starts to explain. He tells them he's been texting with a man named Chris, the same name the Potters had mentioned as a family friend. Jamie says Chris told him he was in the CIA and that Chris's job was to protect Janelle from her enemies. Then Jamie blurts that Chris, said he's going to go to Billie's. In other words, Jamie's implying that this supposed CIA guy, Chris, was planning to go to Billie Payne's house to deal with the threat. The detectives in that moment smelled something extremely fishy. As one later put it, why would a CIA agent be involved in this tiny town's internet feud? He said, I smell a rat.
Yeah, that's doesn't make sense.
The whole thing sounded like a bad movie plot. But Jamie's revelation was a major breakthrough. Maybe not in the way Jamie thought, though. The investigators didn't believe for 1 second that an actual CIA agent had a hand in this, but they realized someone had been feeding Jamie and Janelle's parents this story. Now they suspected that Buddy Potter and Jamie Curd indeed carried out the killings, but possibly under the influence or instruction of this mysterious Chris. Who was Chris? Was it a real person? Someone manipulating these events? The team had a new angle, followed the trail of this CIA guy.
That's so interesting. Like, it's interesting that they all just believed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no question. Oh, okay. He's with the CIA.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect.
He's
Makes
here
sense.
to protect Janelle.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What?
And it's so crazy. I'm just trying to remember if I had the email address that it came from.
CIA
Yeah.
protectjanelle.com.
Yes, literally something like
Chris
that.
at CIA.
Yeah.
.com.
Chris _CIA agent at hotmail.com.
You know what?
At AOL.
I think you're on to something.
AOL, of course.
Yes.
It was AOL messaging.
Yes. He
Oh.
had actually told them that he didn't like phones and they would not be able to speak on the phone with
Of
him
course.
ever. Mm-hmm. And
Because he'd probably sound weirdly like Janelle. So
you might be onto something. Jamie at this point is starting to crack. He finally admitted the basic truth. He and Buddy had gone to Billie Payne's house that morning, and it was Buddy who killed the couple. Jamie,
So he ratted out Buddy.
he did.
Okay.
They put the pressure on him. They told him he failed his polygraph. I think they probably alleged that if he was directed by a CIA agent, then you can tell us the truth of what happened. Right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, right. As police were digging into this CIA agent trail, they were able to find that he had been messaging Barbara multiple emails every day. And then they had a breakthrough. They found that all of the emails were coming from inside the house. Same IP address.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hila, did you?
I'm brilliant.
I know. I was gonna say you had like a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that one. That was good.
Really?
No.
As soon as she said a CIA agent, I was like, oh, it's Janelle.
Oh my gosh. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grab that.
Yeah. They were digging into all of this when Jamie did tell them that the two of them had gone in. And I do think they said something to the effect of, well, if someone,
Mm-hmm.
was directing that, then you can tell us. And they also found out that Buddy was an avid gun collector. Everything was coming together. Jamie, however, portrayed what happened as he was doing it to protect Janelle from people that he truly believed intended to harm her. So in essence, Jamie confessed to being an accessory and pointed to Buddy as the shooter. That was huge, but, now they need more and more evidence to do anything else. The investigators, armed with Jamie's confession, moved quickly to arrest Buddy. Given his, known arsenal of guns and his military background, a SWAT-like team executed a pre-dawn raid at the Potter house a few days later. It was tense. Buddy was indeed armed when they swarmed him, and an officer had to grab his arm to prevent him from possibly raising his weapon. Thankfully, they were able to subdue him without incident. Buddy was taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Jamie was arrested and charged as well. Now, investigators had both triggermen. They still needed to unravel the full plot. They suspected that Janelle and Barbara might be involved behind the scenes. And Jamie's bizarre mention of CIA Chris pointed to a larger conspiracy. So they began digging, literally and digitally.
This is so wild. I'm surprised no one turned this into a movie.
Not yet.
This story is just wild.
It is so bizarre and wild. And I mean, you could totally frame it without anybody knowing Janelle had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Which I guess I did a little bit.
You did.
Yeah.
You got me there.
Sweet. With Buddy in custody, Agent Scott Lott of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations and others began executing search warrants on the Potter property. What they discovered was illuminating. Inside the home, they discovered tons of guns and ammo stashed everywhere, indicating that Buddy may have been ready for war. More oddly, they found printed photos of Billie Jean, Billie Payne, and their friends scattered in the living room. It was like the Potters had been keeping files on the people they viewed as Janelle's enemies. The biggest finds were in Buddy's pickup truck and on the family computer. In Buddy's truck, officers came across bags full of shredded documents, dozens upon dozens of tiny paper shreds. Suspecting these were important, investigators gathered up 3 huge garbage bags of shredded paper and hauled them off as evidence.
Wow.
One dedicated special agent spent an entire month painstakingly reassembling those shreds with tape.
Was that like a win a prize for the puzzle competition there?
Oh my
Totally.
gosh.
Can you imagine?
That would be so hard.
It would be so hard. I feel like I've put together like one paper before, and it was hard.
Oh, yeah. And can you imagine 3 garbage bags full of just all kinds of papers?
Nope.
Wow.
I mean, that's why it took an entire month, and it was probably,
I could see it taking a year.
Longer.
yeah. They must have been good at what they did.
Yeah.
Puzzle master.
Yeah, a giant jigsaw puzzle of confetti.
No, thank you.
Eventually, over 100 pages of legible text emerged from the shreds.
Wow.
And what did those pages contain? Emails. Dozens and dozens of printed emails between the Potter family, mostly Barbara, and Chris. The content was startling. In email after email, Chris warned Barbara about supposed plots against Janelle, claiming that Billie, Payne, and Billie Jean and others wanted to hurt her or kill her. Chris presented himself as a CIA operative working undercover to neutralize these threats. He provided surveillance info, like who was saying what about Janelle around town, and even tactical advice. Essentially, Chris egged on the Potter's fear and anger, writing that if something wasn't done, the Potter family could be in danger of serious harm. It was exactly the narrative that Buddy and Barbara had been telling, now in black and white. Agent Scott Lott said, "It appeared there was some type of conspiracy here. They kept referring to a guy named Chris that's supposedly a CIA operative or something." Investigators read these emails with growing astonishment. Who the heck was this Chris, really? The messages had a very unusual type of writing and attitude for a federal investigator. Agent Lott later noted, not exactly professional language. Something was off, so they took a clever next step. They asked Barbara and Janelle to each come down to the station and give a written statement about the case. Agent Scott Lott had said it appeared there was some type of conspiracy here. They kept referring to a guy named Chris that's supposedly a CIA operative or something. Investigators read these emails with growing astonishment. Who the heck was Chris, really? The messages had a very unusual type of writing and attitude for a federal investigator. Agent Lott noted later, not exactly professional language. Something was off, so they took a clever next step. They asked Barbara and Janelle to each come down to the station and give a written statement about the case. Basically, they wanted handwriting and typing samples from the 2 women to compare with the Chris emails.
That's smart.
Mm-hmm. The interesting thing, I think they asked both because Barbara was writing back to Chris a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think they asked both so that it didn't give it away at all.
Yeah.
That they were just looking at Janelle.
Yeah, that would
or
make
any
sense.
part of that. Mm-hmm. And so they went down, Barbara and Janelle typed out their recollection of events. It didn't take a linguistics expert to see the resemblance. As Agent Lott put it, it was very easy to associate Chris's writing style with Janelle Potter's writing style, just due to grammatical errors and the way that people write and type. The phrasing, the typos, the overall voice and tone of the emails all looked just like Janelle's way of communicating.
Mm.
And then
She's like, okay, like, guys, they ain't no nice to me.
exactly.
Can you go murder them, please?
Like, yeah.
Please?
And then came the final nail in the coffin. A forensic analysis of the Potter's family computer revealed that every single one of the CIA Chris emails had come from the IP address linked to the Potter's own house.
It's coming from inside the house.
Oh, so scary. In other words, the emails claiming to be from Chris in the CIA were sent from inside their home.
Yeah, not really shocked at this point that looks like Chris wasn't real.
Yeah. Right.
Chris from the CIA, CIA.com.
0001 Chris at CIA.
At yahoo.com.
Yes. Oh, the investigators reached the only logical conclusion. There was no Chris from the CIA at all. Chris was a fabrication, a persona concocted by Janelle Potter herself. She had been essentially catfishing her own parents and boyfriend, making them believe this dangerous group of people were out to get her, and a CIA agent was safeguarding her. It's like something out of a twisted thriller. Janelle created an imaginary hero, Chris, and imaginary villains, these fabricated threats, all to manipulate those closest to her.
It's just so diabolical. I mean, she basically manipulated her parents and Jamie's loyalty to go murder for her.
Yes.
And they just believed her 100%, no questions.
Isn't that sad?
That is sad.
I don't think you could ever trust anybody ever again.
No, no way.
No. Prosecutor Dennis Brooks later said, social media allowed Janelle Potter to be someone that she wasn't. She could assume a different identity and be as hateful as she wanted. Janelle, being behind that screen, was able to create many false identities and post these things. I mean, for the most part, they were all her. The ones that were mean to her, targeting her, cruel to her. She was behind all of that. And then she could invent Chris, who helped her play her parents, her boyfriend, everybody to be on her side.
Just because she was jealous, basically.
Yeah.
That's just like
so awful.
The whole
projection.
other level.
Yeah, totally. The projection. They think I'm too pretty.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're the one
She
that's
is
jealous.
A narcissist.
Oh, absolutely. With this revelation, the case broke wide open in August 2013, a year and a half after the murders. A grand jury indicted Janelle Potter and her mother, Barbara, also on charges of first-degree murder and conspiracy.
Good. Glad that they got put in that too.
Yeah. Especially Janelle.
I know. The mastermind, Janelle, and her mother were under arrest, and now all four conspirators were in custody. The trigger man, Buddy, his helper, Jamie, the schemer, Janelle, and kind of by default, Barbara, but she had been an instigator in all of this.
Well, and she was saying back and forth to Chris, no one wants to kill them, but
we will.
We will. We have to. So it wasn't like she was hiding in the dark or saying anything other than what they were all thinking and doing.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'm sure she's talking to Buddy and they're coming up with this plan. She probably knew what he was going to go do at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, 100%.
It's not like she was in the dark.
Nope.
She totally was part of it too.
Yeah, and Janelle was too.
Absolutely.
I mean, texting Jamie at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're back.
Where they were going.
ASAP.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me know when it's done.
Yeah.
Yes. Totally manipulated them to do this for her. I wonder if they're mad. They better be.
I would be.
Yeah. The legal proceedings took a few years to conclude, but ultimately all involved were held accountable. Jamie Curd, who had confessed and cooperated, struck a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to facilitation of first-degree murder, which is essentially helping commit the murders, and received 2 concurrent 25-year sentences. Importantly, along with this, Jamie agreed to testify against Janelle and Barbara as part of his deal. He was actually paroled after serving just a few years, which is a relatively light outcome, reflecting that authorities saw him as misled by Janelle rather than the prime mover behind any of this. Buddy went to trial in October of 2013. Despite his health issues and denials, the evidence was overwhelming, especially when they got his own recorded phone call confession to Barbara.
Smart.
That would do it.
A jury found Buddy guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. The judge gave him 2 life sentences, and Buddy, who's in his 60s, would spend the rest of his life in prison. Janelle and Barbara were tried together, and it wasn't until May of 2015. By now, their family secret was out for all to see. Jamie Curd had testified about how Janelle had entangled him. All the emails and texts provided a devastating timeline of Janelle's orchestration. From her, quote, "Yes, he's leaving now," text the morning of the murders to all of those fake CIA emails urging violence. One email from Barbara to Chris basically encouraged killing the victims. We had mentioned this one before. No one wants to kill anyone, but we will. This showed Barbara was not just passively fooled. She was actively advocating deadly action once convinced her daughter was threatened. The prosecution painted Janelle as the puppet master, a woman who never pulled the trigger, but whose words, deceptions, her actions were as lethal as any bullet. The defense, in turn, tried to downplay Janelle's intelligence and agency, claiming that she was not capable of such manipulation. Just because Buddy did something horrific doesn't mean Janelle directed him to do it. She's not capable. It's just not in her.
They have documentation that she did.
Yes, they do. And I don't know if she's still trying to say she didn't write them. Someone else in the house did.
Someone broke in and hacked their IP address and wrote their emails.
There you go.
The CIA did.
She did previously say that people had hacked in to post the mean comments from her from her Facebook.
Yep.
A lot. She said that. The jury, like us, did not buy it. After a 7-day trial, Janelle and Barbara were both found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy. The court clerk said, "We, the jury, find defendant Barbara May Potter guilty of first-degree murder. We, the jury, find Janelle L. Potter guilty of first-degree murder." The verdict was read aloud in the courtroom, each name in turn. There was an audible gasp and then tears from the victims' families. At last, justice for Billie Payne and Billie Jean. A lot of relief, glad this is finally getting over. "Maybe we can let Billie and Billie Jean rest now," one family member said, emotional outside the courtroom. 2 months later, in July 2015, the judge sentenced both Janelle and Barbara to life in prison. For Janelle, life meant life. Tennessee has very long life terms. Barbara, also in her 60s by then, effectively faced dying behind bars. However, Barbara appealed her conviction, and in 2021, an appeals court did overturn Barbara's murder convictions on a technicality, a conflict of interest with her lawyer.
What?
Yeah, what was that conflict of interest?
I don't even know.
Oh.
It could be that he didn't push hard enough. It could be they didn't get along, so maybe he didn't work hard enough for her, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah. Rather than face a retrial, Barbara took a plea deal, pleading guilty to a lesser charge of facilitating the murders. Her new sentence made her eligible for parole in 2028. So 13 years, I guess, before she's eligible, which doesn't mean she'll get out.
Right.
Janelle also appealed. Her appeals were denied. She remains in prison serving 2 concurrent life sentences with no end in sight, but he is also still incarcerated on his life terms. In media interviews after the trial, Janelle and Barbara continued to deny their involvement. From jail, Janelle insisted, "I don't hate Billie or Billie Jean. I just disliked them. I wanted them to quit. I wanted the harassment to stop." She maintained that she never wanted anyone killed. Barbara was also defiant, saying, "I don't want anybody murdered. I did not do that." Both mother and daughter claimed they were unjustly convicted, essentially casting all blame on Buddy, the trigger man, and even suggesting the evidence of the online plot was misconstrued. In an interview on 2020, when confronted with the fact that Chris was you are Chris, Janelle abruptly left the interview saying, "I think we're done here." To this day, Janelle Potter has never admitted to creating the fake CIA agent who really set this strategy in motion.
That's so crazy. Even with all the proof, she still doesn't own up to it.
Right?
She's just going to deny it the rest of her life.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Never getting out of prison with that.
No.
It seems really like Janelle is living in her own reality, or at least pretending to. Of course, this much evidence doesn't lie. Investigators could clearly see the IP addresses, the writing style, the timing of the messages. All roads lead to Janelle as Chris, and the jury saw this too. The case of Janelle Potter, dubbed by some as Facebook murders, is a stark reminder of how words can kill. Janelle never physically harmed anyone herself, but her lies, her online alter ego, manipulated others to do unspeakable violence on her behalf. It's a modern cautionary tale of catfishing and the dark side of social media. In the aftermath, little Tyler, the baby who survived, was raised by relatives, growing up without his mom and dad. He's around 13 years old now. Family and friends make sure he knows how much his parents loved him. They'll never forget the cost of this senseless crime. Mountain City eventually went back to being the quiet town it was, but the story lingers, retold with disbelief that anybody could be so consumed by an online grudge that they'd orchestrate murder. People said it best. It's amazing these murders were carried out without Janelle Potter ever even pulling the trigger. The power she wielded came from deception and the manipulation of love and fear.
This case just leaves me speechless. It's like, it's just so wild.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a fake CIA agent?
Right.
Like, how do you even come up with that? And
then falling for it.
Yeah. And then her parents killing on behalf of her telling them to.
Yeah.
I understand being concerned for her welfare, but I mean, that's when you get the police involved.
Right.
To just go basically execute them in their home.
Horrifying.
You can't make this up.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of
terrible.
like they were more than happy to. He was more than happy to carry out his own secret mission. And, it's an extreme case. It does make you think about the real harm that online harassment, these false personas can do. But in the end, the people who paid the price were Billie Payne and Billie Jean, these two who were starting out a happy life with their baby, and their lives were cut short, and it just did not have to happen. So let's remember them.
Yeah.
And baby Tyler, and think twice about some of these real world consequences of online conflicts.
Yeah. Just really think about, what you're posting out there.
What you're saying, there's a real person behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And words can really hurt people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unfortunately, we live in a day where cyberbullying is a big deal.
It is. And everybody's on social media now.
Absolutely. And especially with young kids, they really take it to heart what's said to them. And it's so sad.
Scary.
That people don't realize the weight that their words hold. And I always say this to my husband when we're driving. I'm like, don't honk at people or don't do that, because you never know what's going to set somebody off.
Yeah.
And, driving down the road and yell at someone out your window and they turn around and shoot you. I'm like, you have to be so careful.
I mean, that's happened here, in our city before.
Yeah, you have to just be careful. You don't know what other people are going through either, and what's going to set someone off, and how your words are going to affect somebody else.
Absolutely. It's good advice. I never honk. Mila asked me yesterday, how often do you honk your horn? I was like, never. I'm too scared.
I don't either, unless we're at a light for too long.
Light and we miss the whole light.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, like a wake up, right?
Yes.
I maybe honked at someone on my way.
Don't get shot.
Don't do that.
You know what? He had a yield sign. I was coming up. He was
Good
not
reminder.
yielding. I was about to run into him, left onto the on-ramp. He's coming up. I have the right of way. He's not stopping.
Oh. Yeah, it's like, hey, did you miss your signs? You not watching?
Yeah, it's just...
It is scary,
sad,
though.
Some of the things that are said, like we were talking before, things that I've seen people post, the comments and the direct messages that they get. It's just good reminder there's real people on the other side of that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Well, with that, good advice. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Crime Clueless. We appreciate you spending your time with us as we dive into these crazy cases. If you're looking for resources we use in this episode, you can find them on our blog, which is linked on our website, crimeclueless.com. Just go to the contributor section. If you would follow us on social media, we would love that. We can talk about cases, share. We're on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Just search for @CrimeClueless. If you have any true crime stories of your own, if this reminded you of anything you've experienced, send those our way. Our email is crimeclueless@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed today's episode, we would love if you would rate or review or share our podcast. Your support helps us reach more listeners and allows us to continue to grow our amazing community. You can find Crime Clueless on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, iHeart, and all major streaming platforms. Remember, refuse to be clueless, careless, or caught off guard.
Not today, murderers.
Bye.
Bye.